Good morning. Welcome to the second episode of State Review with Muyanga Vincent Muthama. Today we are having one of our most powerful episodes discussing political matters as they continue traversing this nation's political space. With me today, I'm joined by two very enthusiastic individuals in this school who are going to be giving us their insight on what they think is the direction that the state is at and the prescribed designation that they need to be taking to make our country to move forward in the right motion. So I'm going to give them some few minutes for introduction, but before that, I want to remind you, you still have a chance to participate with us during these panel shows through communicating to us on Facebook, on our X pages, and on YouTube, and also communicating through the WhatsApp channels that have been created previously with Sura TV. Remember that this is the home of adequate and proportional communication on matters not only local but national and international simultaneously. So maybe we can start with my panel's introduction. We'll start to my first left. Vincent, maybe you can introduce yourself briefly.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm Vincent Odhiambo, coming from Masai Mara University. I'm taking BA Political Science and Public Administration. My home county is in Migori. That's where I was brought up.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I had then Philip.
I'm Philip Nyadida, a third-year student at Masai Mara University. I'm currently pursuing Bachelor of Commerce, specializing in finance and banking. Thank you for the opportunity, and hope we'll really discuss the issues of the state.
Thank you so much to all our viewers. These are students we have here in this university, and I'm guaranteed that the knowledge and the banks of information that they have from their previous experience and their disciplines that they're taking, they'll be able to give us the correct insights. So guys, once again, welcome to the show. It's nice hosting you guys here. I can see that you guys are very well versed. You're one of the best panelists that I've had from the time that we started this show. I hope you're calm. So maybe we can start with the most trending matter in the country before we cascade to other matters that are going in the country. We'll start with you, Philip. We just witnessed as from 9:03, the Speaker for the Senate arrived, and they are going to be picking up the motion to continue hearing from Rigathi Gachagua, some of the lawyers that he has brought forward to defend him in this cause. What do you think about these proceedings that have been going on for the last few weeks in this country? Vincent.
The proceedings that have been going on in the legislature of the government, it is now a matter of public concern, and citizens are watching. There are people who are waiting whether the legislature will impeach or remove the deputy president in the office by votes. And by now, the evidences or the motion that was moved by Honorable Muyanga Vincent, up to this moment, it is being described as a liquid information or evidence, because there is no any substantiation that has been made to uphold or to create facts that the deputy president should be impeached. Impeachment motions have been brought to this country. Of late, we had a Nyamira governor impeachment, Kericho, and all these petitions that have been filed of impeachment. The very, very thing that the representatives should focus on is the public affairs. Education sector, people are suffering. They are wasting much time discussing non-issues of the citizens. Impeachment of the deputy president is none of the National Assembly concern, although they have practiced their constitutional mandate according to the Article 145 and 150 of the Constitution. But it is there is no the evidences are not threshold to the impeachment.
Okay. So, according to you, the nation has more to focus on than what is currently going on, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
In fact, the health sector, education sector, agricultural sector needs more emphasis. To look at most, it is education sector. And the unemployment issues in Kenya. Most youths are unemployed in this country, and to make matters worse, they are blaming youths to create employment. Why don't even those MPs, all those people representing all those leaders, create employment for themselves? Instead, they went to those citizens to look for them to be elected in those positions.
Okay. Thank you very much, Vincent, for those opinions. To you, Mr. Philip,
Yes.
we have so many factors that are going on in our country right now. We have so many situations that individuals like Vincent are holding to heart that it's not maybe the time for us to be discussing impeachment of a very senior individual in government, especially on such grounds. But do you think to some extent this is the right time for us to be discussing this?
Definitely no, it is not the right moment for us to discuss issues of impeachment, more so of the deputy president. If you understand the political culture of our nation, the term for a president or for before an election is always 5 years. And they're telling us that they take first year in organizing themselves, second year in mobilization of resources for them to start working, and then they're telling us they're working on the third year, the fourth year. The fifth year, they're now concluding and preparing for another election. So we are currently in the second year or heading to the third year, where right now we should see robust development agenda, development policies. But what are we seeing? We are back to the politics. It means there is no growth. There is no economical growth, political growth in our country. It is not the right moment for us to discuss the impeachment of the deputy president.
Okay, thank you very much, Philip. To you, Vincent. There are so many counts that have been brought forward on why the deputy president should be impeached. This is not the first time we're hearing of such claims. We had almost similar claims while Obado was on the deck as well, about how funds are being misappropriated, family members are being put into the maze and discussing and taking funds from the government of Kenya. Do you think that maybe we only focus on specific impeachments when these individuals are not on the path that we want to hear from them? Because according to the reports that are being brought, his rise from 800 million worth of a net worth to 5.3 approximate billion within just 2 years being in government is something that should have been reported a long time ago, because the people who are coming forward to witness, like the governor, the KEMSA officials, all of these individuals knew while all of this was happening. But it was until this impeachment that many people are describing it is an incitement, it is a planned event, that they opted to give out this information. Do you think that maybe there's just too much that is hidden and it only comes out when there's political vengeance seeming from somewhere?
From this impeachment, there is something that is being hidden from us. This thing was planned. And this country has never had peace since the Kenya Kwanza government took power. There have been never peace in this country. It is just maandamano after maandamano. When there is no maandamano, there is impeachment. If there is no impeachment, there is cases of corruption. If there is no corruption, you hear that there is flood. After flood, Tumetenga has come again with false lies. The petitions that were filed against the impeachment of the deputy president are not facts. The National Assembly passed this thing humorously. They never consider the evidence that was provided. They were just going by the utterance of the DP. From the start, I did not like this government. Even the DP, I'm not supporting it, and I'm never supporting at this moment. But in matters of justice, for justice to be delivered, for justice to stand on its own, there must be something that you should hold or to support anything or any judgment that someone provides.
So what about these funds? These funds that we're hearing that are being taken. Do you think we're just targeting one individual because of political vengeance, or is this in the right way?
It is a target. The reason why, there is no problem when one holds a farm. For that case, we are, the country or the National Assembly was only focused on the DP network because because the suspect was the DP, or the person in examination was the DP. But when we start examining the net worth of these members of the parliament, when we start examining all the government officials' net worth, we will get that most of their wealth has been acquired through corruption.
Illegal means.
Let's now take the chairman at the executive, the president. When we look at his network, before he was the deputy president since 2013 to 2022, we will see that there is an increment in that. And that do not prove that, or that should not show that his net worth increased because he was the deputy president at the moment. Because we can't suggest, because we have no means of testing that he acquired them because he was the deputy president at that time. But to be concerned, these people are also earning salaries. They are also investing in some areas that should be considered, that who are employed there, what are they doing there, and the investment that they are making.
Wow, thank you.
Before you go to the next question,
yes,
I think the best remedy for this, more so to those who are being elected directly by the people themselves must be empowered. Civil education is still very poor in our country. The best remedy for this, for the network thing, is actually getting back to the citizens. Choose leaders whom you know that this one is an honest, has integrity, etc.
And they can confirm they are their own people.
Yeah, they can confirm. Engaging the EACC, my friend, the chairperson of EACC will come, the commissioner from the police or the IG, and give them something, and they'll sign my document. I'm okay. So in engaging those government agencies will not actually solve this.
Okay.
This goes back to civic education to all citizens.
To make it short, siasa ya mtu wetu iishe.
Okay. Now, maybe as we come to a close, yes, when we move away from the matters of the Deputy President, we can start with you. This is, to some percentage, in your field of discipline, this Adani deal. Adani has become a very strong word in our country. We hear of it anytime we're discussing government, anytime we're discussing development, there is Adani somewhere. And I think to some percentage, we should have seen this somewhere. During the inauguration of the now president, we could see some specific faces. The petroleum guy from Tanzania, we could see the affiliation of big individuals, conglomerates in this continent coming together here in the country. And now, some few years later, we hear the airport deal and the Ketraco deal that has come into place. So my question is, we have what was presented to us by the previous administration, the other CSs that were there before we had this new setup coming into place, and CS Mbadi, CPA, is campaigning for this a lot here. He has thrown all weight behind it. And they have already made some very great movement with Ketraco on matters of electricity. And then we have this pending airport deal that is on hold because of what LSK has presented to the court and those other bodies that are concerned with this. Now, what these people are saying is that the country is in desperate need for this kind of renovations. That the airport is desperate for movement. It needs better terminals, it needs more accommodation, it needs runways, it needs a lot of things, according to what they are saying. Then on matters of electricity, they are saying that we have too frequent blackouts in the country that they need to start being sorted out, and they think that Adani might be the best solution. Now, do you think, because according to me, my thinking is that this country does have the capability to do all of this, only that we are blinded by the ridiculous amount of corruption that happens in the country, misappropriation of funds, because even the recent impeachment motion is holding over 4 billion that has just disappeared because of one individual being in office. And we had, even in the previous government, former President Uhuru Kenyatta saying we lose 2 billion per day as a country to corruption. Now, I think that the country can manage these things, only that we have too much corruption. But now when we go to Adani, we are paying them, they'll be controlling. And remember, it's for 30 good years.
Yes.
30 good years with these assets being controlled by a foreign company, that there's a lot of cloud shadowing what Adani Group does. Now, I want to hear from you. What is your perspective on this? Does the country actually have the capacity to fix these things? Because some of the recent things you're seeing is the leaking area where people are supposed to be standing, and the ridiculous losses that Kenya Airways makes. It's so ridiculous because we're making serious losses with Kenya Airways. So, do you think that this is something that we can control if we decide to remove the small problems? Because corruption is something that we can all eradicate. Only that in this country it seems like a big mountain and it's only an anthill. So, what is your view on what our country can do? And is Adani truly the solution to the problem we are having with these parastatals in this country?
Our country is really capable, and we are a growing economy, and in Africa we are top 5. But the big elephant in the room is the corruption thing, and question that we should start talking about, though it has been discussed every now and then, here goes, is the issue of how to eradicate corruption. When the government came in, let me just get back to that government, he promised us how he's going to handle corruption issues. Once and for all. Up to now, it is actually an increasing thing in the country. So, the bigger question, how can we handle corruption issues? Should we change our economic system? Should we change our economic models that we have in the country for us to eradicate this? In terms of our economy, we can, but corruption will make us fail. Let me also add that if you take the data of those who visit the airport to go to various countries in the world, I think most Kenyans can't. And most Kenyans can't afford visiting other nations, traveling abroad. So we are just in domestic traveling, and domestic traveling has a bigger rate than the international travels. So, renovating the airport actually will not even affect us so much economically, apart from the revenue that we get there every year, which is actually a loss. So to the Kenyans, let us come back to a typical Kenyan, who is in, let's say in Siaya, in Narok, the inner parts of Narok, who is not that concerned about who has never even traveled to Nairobi. So how can Adani things concern that particular person? Right now, we don't need Adani. We don't need any other foreign investment agencies or groups coming to take care of our assets in the country. What we need. But many leaders are focusing on themselves. Let me introduce this thing because I'll benefit. Let me do this because I'll benefit. Forgetting the people who elected.
So there's a lot of ulterior motives that goes around it.
Yes.
Okay. Now, because of the time factor that we are having here, I'll give each of our panelists at least 30 seconds to make closing remarks as we come to an end. We'll see if we can create time to read some of the comments that are coming through. So I'll give each of you 30 seconds to make a closing remark as we come to a close. We can start with you, Philip.
Thank you so much. Just in conclusion, I've seen a video speculating in social media about Adani, and the Indians, it is about Indians demonstrating about Adani. By now, we don't need Adani. We don't need any foreigner investor in this country. I saw the president communicating that we are going to have visitors by 2027. That's why he needs to renovate the airport. And the money to renovate the airport is not there. The money is in Kenya. Only that investment of fund is numerous in Kenya. It is a public concern in Kenya. If investment of fund is not in Kenya, we should have time because when Gen Zs were protesting, only one day the DP accuses the Gen Zs that we've lost 2 million tax revenue collection. So to me, in a day when a country is collecting 10 million, and it was only in Nairobi, CBD, to me, all country in one day can collect more than 2 million in a day. To me, money is in Kenya. Only that it is mishandled in Kenya.
Okay. Thank you very much, Vincent. Philip, your closing remarks?
Let me conclude by giving out these 2 points. Our nation can really grow. Okay. Our economy can really grow. But we have 2 things. That is corruption and the debts. The foreign debts that we have. Foreign versus domestic debts, which comes with huge interest rates that is really killing our nation. Like for instance, if I borrow 100 from you or 1,000 from you, and you want it by next week, you want 500 on top. And I'm also a hustler. We are a developing nation. So that is also giving us an havoc to our economy, corruption and foreign and domestic debt. Secondly, our country actually needs serious leaders. And we need to change our political system of management. That is where we've seen leaders coming up during campaign, I'll be the best, I'll be CG in my interest. But actually when they get to the system, they are absorbed. So we need to change our management, our political system, our leadership structure, so that we can actually focus on the bigger issues. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We had a very powerful panel team here that has really weighed in greatly on what is happening in our country. It's a definite guarantee that we have great knowledge banks and tanks just here in any institutional setup in our country. So as we continue enlightening the country on matters that are affecting our country through these students, feel free to always interact with us on matters like this and engage with us on how we can make this nation better through your reviews. You the citizen, you the commenter, you the individual who puts leaders where they are. Thank you so much to my panelist, Mr. Vincent Muthama, first year student at Masai Mara University, taking public administration and political science, and my very good friend Philip Nyadida, so very sorry for that, Nyadida, third year student at Masai Mara University, doing a Bachelor of Commerce, specializing in finance and banking. I understand he's also doing CPA level 2. We have a job back in our hands. And as always, my name is Muyanga Vincent Muthama, your host for the State Review with Muyanga Vincent. We'll continue having more interactions and continue enlightening you on what is happening on our country. From Sura TV, I bid you a nice day.